So hello everybody, I'm Pawel Sucholbiak. I'm a lead software test automation engineer. I'm working at EPAM Switzerland. I'm always thinking about food and improvements. Honestly, I'm not sure what goes first. I'm also a kind of a sporty guy, or at least I like to think about myself like that. Before we'll start, a small disclaimer. So this presentation is intended for educational purposes, and some actions or methods described here might be illegal without proper authorization and could result in serious legal consequences. Examples shared are to raise awareness and improve security, not to encourage unethical behavior. Always act ethically, follow applicable laws, and ensure you have the proper permissions. Okay, we have that out of the way, we can actually start. I'm a tester, and generally I have few superpowers. One of them is I break stuff and I'm getting paid for it. Second thing is that I'm a catastrophist. So I'm very good at bringing up the worst case scenarios. To the point that my team decided, hey Pawel, we really like you, but could you do something else for a moment? We have enough of the problems now. Therefore, instead of breaking the systems from the technical perspective, I start exploring different options. How can I leverage humans? And I discovered that it's super interesting. At the same time, it's terrifying. All right. Have you heard of, and we have a list of nice incidents. Ubiquity, 2015, they've lost 40 million. CEO impersonation. Facebook, Google, fake supplier. Yahoo, JP Morgan, Kreeland Bank, Toyota Boshu Corp, Puerto Rico government, Carabank. This one is actually very nice because it's a whole cyber crime group that was active for 5 years, and over one of the $1 billion was stolen or taken. What about Department of Homeland Security? They lost a bit of data, but they claim it's not that crucial, you know. First name, last names, position, location, phone number, email number. It's just, small things, right? Have you watched the Shark Tank? Yeah, one of the co-hosts or the hosts of the show was also scammed. Twitter, 130 high profiles. LexisNexis Git repository, a bit of data there. The new ones, I'm not sure if you've heard about the NPM thing. So overall, it all started with a nice spear phishing email. NBN.js help reached out to the guy, asked, hey, you would need to reset your second factor authentication. Cool, let me do it for you. The outcome, initially 18 packages, over 2 billion downloads over the week. And now also those packages were infected with the worm, and the worm was, I would say, was active. There's a third version that still is in December, but there are no reports that it got infected a bit more. And also Discord. This is a nice case. Not that often happens that someone got bribed. And I think they got access to Zendesk. So all of those incidents, they have basically one or more than one thing in common. There's a social engineering involved. So you might ask what the social engineering is, and I have a very nice definition from Christopher Hagnagi. It's a world-class expert about the social engineering. And this definition is super broad. So when we act in manipulating someone, we would like to get best interest, and it's not their best interest. So whenever I'm talking about social engineering, I like to bring the topic of secure door. We have super secure system. There is no way of breaking in. We might have double locks, secure hinges. We might have an iris scanner. We might have a voice detection system. But then if we introduce the human factor into the whole mix, it turns out that it's basically a standard pizza boy that can deliver a pizza. Or you might knock at the doors and say, who's there? It's me. And then most likely people open your doors. So in this case, when social engineering kicks in is the fact that we know there is on the other side of the doors, there's a security guard that for some reason he skipped lunch. We might be taking part of he's skipping lunch or not, but we know he's also loving a pizza. And we also made sure to read the technical documentation of the building, so we know the ventilation works perfectly. So whenever someone is basically standing before those doors, the security guy can smell everything. So that's one key factor here. And even though we might have those security systems, the people, if they're really desperate, they will do whatever it takes. The guy might tell us, hey, just grab the handle, shake it 3 times and pull it, and then it will basically start the emergency procedure for evacuation. And then you will get in, and I'll just close the alarm because it's pizza, right? So social engineering is basically using weaknesses, human weaknesses, and it's being amplified by different technological aspects. And it's increasing, or it's growing enormously. What about reasons for those attacks? And of course, there's a financial gain. Someone might say that everything brings down to money, but there's also there are scenarios with a bigger plan that doesn't lead to money. It might be a data theft. It might be ideological beliefs or espionage or a warfare, right? And in some cases, it also might be personal reasons. Someone would like, or someone got offended. Someone would like to prove that they are better than someone else. All right. And if we look at the usual targets, in here I divided the systems into the systems that are storing the data and they can perform an action, right? Also, we have a C-suite. The entire board is basically on the front line for attackers. Also, high net worth people. Interesting thing is that you hear about those high net worth people that are being attacked. But there's at a certain point, I'm not sure exactly where, but there's a border that you don't hear that those ultra net worth people are affected by it. Because they have enough to lose to hire the best minds to keep them safe. And usually those people, they cannot spend anything by themselves. They have a guy that does that for them, and his sole purpose is actually to protect them. Also, politicians, that's another topic. I don't want to deal into that. It's too comic. Content creators, it's all about exposures. It's all about the reach and the audience. Also journalists. And the journalist is also very, very sensitive topic because journalists have access to their sources of information. And in some cases, the information is not that valuable as who gave that or who basically provided that information. And have you ever thought about looking beyond that first layer, what we found as an obvious? I really like to extract or extend this scope to our corporate level. Like, have you thought about HR systems or HR groups? They have access to overall data. It's a payroll, leaving, the current situation, most likely like also the health records. They are aware if we have, for example, if we are on leave or not. Also IT stuff. It's basically starting from the support engineers that are overwhelmed with the amount of work or the teams that are trying to help each other. Also managers that are also overwhelmed and still need to approve all the sort of the tickets. And we have a third group, those new or untrained employees that either they're very submissive when exposed to a technical jargon. They will do whatever they they will do whatever you tell them, and they will accept it as granted. Also, the new hires, it's their time on this probation period that they would like to shine, and they will do for everything for you, even though it might seem very sketchy at the time. Also, I like to address this option as targeting different nodes. So if you imagine that someone is not attacking you because of you, but in order to get to someone else. And the very scary moment is that I might be the middleman or the middle node. I might be the very initial node. I might got attacked, or my mom can got attacked because someone would like to get to me in order to get to my company. And maybe my company is not the final target. Maybe client of my company is the final target. And that's a bit scary because we are basically losing perspective from what kind of attacks I should be securing myself from. So let's imagine the payroll system. So we have an attacker got access to mailing system. Let's start with that context. Also, we have an HR system or HR personnel. And let's imagine the attacker got access to my mailbox, and for some reason, he or she can divert the messages or create some rules into my mailbox that make those emails or those conversations invisible to me. Because I still can, in parallel, use that same mailbox. So they might ask, hey, what's the procedure of changing my bank account? I got basically a new great offer with a great interest. I would like to use my new banking account, and I like to start wiring my payroll there. So HR would explain, here's the procedure, and things go on. The next thing, my manager's account is being used, and my manager is pretending to talk to HR. Hey, you know, there's this offer from the bank X, and they have a great offer. And most likely more people would like to change their accounts. And we should do it in a more secure way than just sending an email. We need to provide some sort of a technical solution. Okay, HR replies, let me double check with the payroll system, or sorry, the finance. And the finance says, okay, we have this payroll company that does the whole wiring. And you can see on the green lines are actually the legit communication between the real parties. And what it might happen is that we have few other interactions. At the end, attacker is behaving as a finance department and talks directly to the payroll system. Maybe they decided that, oh, it would be great if we would just integrate and use your API to just do that. So do you think it's impossible? It seems a bit improbable, right? But it actually happened. City of Tallahassee, 2019. So HR system got infiltrated. The real target was the third-party payroll system, and the result, 500,000 diverted. How it was detected? And of course, people started complaining, hey, where's my payroll? I need to pay basically my bills. Also, bank noticed that, hey, it's something off because from one month to another, we start seeing different transactions, totally different schemes of things. Thankfully, in this example, or in this case, 90% of the money basically got refunded, or they were able to return the money. But still, there is a case. All right, so overall, how it all starts, and in here, we can see the target's perspective, because in social engineering, we have those tools, but there's really no way of saying where's the start of it. And I will explain it a bit more. So when we start, we might have those initial vectors. So who got recently a phishing email? Any DHL packages, right? Oh, there's even a new scheme. Like nowadays, we are using so much of our cloud storage that now the scams are about, hey, you're running out of cloud storage and you have used 49 gigabytes out of 50. And I was like, whoa, I haven't even thought about having so much data in the cloud. Cool. Spear phishing, targeted ones. Like there is one email or email to 50 people. Like, hey, those are the pictures from the last night's party. Would you like to see? And it's a Google Drive link, so to see. Phishing. So now we have the way of doing the phishing over the phone. Somebody might call you, and there is no really way to verify who the caller really is. The same goes with the video scams. Like there was a case in Germany that someone impersonated a CEO through the deepfake. And it's really something that if the deepfake is done right to to your CEO that he or she looks funny and you report this conversation, right? Another thing is the traditional mail. Like where I live in Switzerland, we also get standard bills over the mail with QR codes that I can scan and I can send the wire transfer. But no one really verifies if the QR code data corresponds to the actual bank account of the recipient, right? No one really does that because I have a QR code. It's technology, guys. Another thing is impersonation. That's more hardcore, where you have actually a technician guy that comes in to fix your light bulb, but instead of going to the kitchen, he goes to a server room in your company. And also we have miscellaneous, like with the QR code. I also found on the tram some very nice leaflet with a QR code in the heart. And I thought like, okay, cool, someone is attacking me. But it turns out in this case that someone was actually trying to advertise the Spotify account or the Spotify creator account. And also we have adverts. On the popular social media sites, we might get into the contact of the adverts. And unfortunately, those providers are not really caring about securing the advertisements. They care about the profits. And of course, who has the most money to spend? The institutions or the personas that actually are dealing with monies from certain sources. All right. What about diving into different techniques? So one of the key aspects is the information gathering. So the non-technical ones, you might find silly that, oh, dumpster diving, right? Someone would just go through your dumpster. But if you look from the metadata perspective, I would like to see what kind of invoices company gets, what kind of packaging it has, what kind of, or like what's the frequency. If I can look at the invoice, I can see that's basically a monthly invoice, right? Or if I'm looking through, or if someone is looking through your personal garbage, and I can see, oh, you're getting a lot of invoices from like a power company, right? Can I actually implant my QR code into legit invoice template and send it to you? Would it work? Possibly. Another, from the technical point of view, OSINT. Have you heard, do you know what the OSINT is? Okay, so for the people that don't know, it's basically open source intelligence. So everything that can be found online that could somehow connect dots together for a persona. So if you know that I'm living in Switzerland, you know that I work in EPAM, you know my first name, last name, so most likely you can Google out what's the template for corporate emails. So it's very easy to narrow it down to what my work email is. At the same time, my company might advertise, hey, our employees were taking place in the Zurich Marathon, right? So you connect the dots, and as I'm a sporty guy that said it publicly on the conference, maybe you'll try to find my results on the race, right? You knew that I was at this time of the day, this place, that's my result, that's my age group. Also, you can then on the results sheet see my race number. So you can also look up my picture. Not that I'm not publicly known, but that's another thing. From the psychological level, we have elicitation, but that deserves its own slot. So elicitation is the act of drawing information out of the person using some logic. We also have a very nice quote from NSA that it's not publicly approved by NSA, but everyone is quoting them, and the quote is very nice. It's a subtle extraction of information during an apparent normal act, normal and innocent conversation. All right, so let me give you some example of that. So here's the part of the Jimmy Kimmel show, and they're also they are making a survey on one of the streets. I think it's LA.
We're talking about cybersecurity today and how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently?
It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua Papillon,
And what's its name?
Jameson.
Jameson. And where'd you go to school?
I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What school?
Hempfield Area Senior High School
Oh, when did you graduate?
in 2009.
Oh, great.
It's like my cat's name and then just like a random number.
Okay. Have you had this cat for a while?
Yeah, she's my childhood pet.
Aw. And what's her name?
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie. So like a password of yours would be Jolie and then a number.
Yeah.
Like number 1.
Like my birthday,
Oh, when is your birthday?
June 12th,
Oh, nice. And what year were you born?
95.
Oh, great. So
Yeah. So that's a very artificial scenario. That video has over, I think, what was it, like 12 years already. So I don't feel any remorse publicly sharing it. At this stage, I'm not sure if it was actually staged. Have they found actually those actresses? But I can imagine a scenario where you are being basically almost harassed by a journalist with the camera, and there is basically a sound guy behind them. And you're trying to act professionally. Hey, I have a very secure password. And I can see that situation happening, but it's always also the stress level, that they're spicing things up. And instead of having like a full context, you have like a memory, like a golden fish. You remember last sentence that you spoke, but nothing else, and you can't really connect the facts. All right. All right, so the elicitation is being used by different professions, from doctors, therapists, police, secret services, interviewers, spies, you name it. It's basically, maybe you are not even aware that, for example, the interviewer, when they ask about, could you explain it in more detail? You gave them everything, right? Everything to secure the job. Whenever a therapist would ask you the same question, you start to wonder, okay, it's maybe a bit too personal to speak on the first session, but generally I have a feeling that this person is there to help me, right? On the other hand, if the police asks you the same question, you will give them as minimal information as you possibly can. And still, it's the same question. With the elicitation, we have some rules, like if the attacker is following them, they have a higher chance of success. So they will try to build rapport with you, a very nice, comfortable situation. They will often act nice in a very pleasant manner. They will start conversation. They will try to be natural. They'll try to be natural, and they will keep the conversation going. There will be no awkward smiles. They will try to behave very naturally. And they seems to be very knowledgeable about the thing. Like if on this conference, if someone approaches you and you start talking about technical things, you won't even notice it that this person is, their true intention is not to get acquainted with you. Also, there is a greed spectrum or greed factor. Like if someone is starting asking you so many different questions, you start noticing, hey, it's not how usually the conversation is going, right? When I ask a question, someone responds, maybe I'll give something from my end, try to keep the conversation going in natural terms. And also the non-verbal clues. Like if you're talking and then I'll start basically looking outside, or I'll basically start shaking nervously because my whole scenario collapses because the response was given in a different way. You might then notice other factors like, oh, but other than that, this guy was actually, his knowledge, there was something off about the things he said. Like he knew about this stuff, but totally he forgotten about the little basics. It's very off. So I have for you a small story. Let me read it out as it's a bit longer. And it gets a context inside of the conference. So, hi, how did you like the lecture? The attacker asked in a friendly tone before hesitating. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be bothering you. No worries, you aren't bothering me, the target replied casually. It was fine, actually. A few new ideas came to my mind during the presentation. Oh, that's great to hear, the attacker remarked before adding. You know, I actually read an article the other day written by some guy. I think his name was John Doe. The target's face lit up with recognition. Oh, actually, I work with him, Dan replied enthusiastically. Whoa, that's really great, the attacker said, pretending to be impressed. John mentioned his team in the article, and I imagine you must be part of this incredible group. You guys must be doing amazing work. Your project sounds fantastic, and the team seems wonderful. The target smiled modestly, but was eager to engage. They began speaking at length about their team and the great collaboration they shared. Oh, believe me, it's not all that great, the target eventually admitted with a small sigh. We are constantly dealing with technical debt. Our clients want more feature ASAP, and sometimes can't understand our limitations. It's a constant struggle. Honestly, we've got a ton of features in production that aren't really fully tested yet. The target's thoughts spilled out as they vented their frustration. At least you're working with some nice technologies, the attacker interjected smoothly, laying the trap. The target nodded, their tone now more enthusiastic. Oh yes, we started using Snorlax QL for monitoring. It's so lazy by design, it only queries stuff when it really has to. And we've gone full containerized using Squirtle Stack. It's pretty cool and encapsulates everything into tiny pods. That all sounds amazing, the attacker said eagerly, feeding into their pride. You guys really seem to have everything figured out. I wish we had someone like you on our team. It must be so easy for you to manage all of that. The target shook their hand, starting to feel more comfortable sharing. Actually, you know, we still struggle with security side of this module. It's not as smooth as I would like. The attacker smiled knowingly. But that security fault can't be too bad, right? I mean, how could anyone even exploit it anyway? The target hesitated for a moment, but then leaned in slightly. Oh, actually, it wouldn't be that hard, they admitted. You just need to, and then the target outlined the general idea, explaining more than they probably intended. Yeah, but even then you will need to direct access to the server, right? The attacker inquired skeptically. You must have like thousands of servers anyway, so it wouldn't really matter, right? The target laughed a little. Not really. We are kind of an old company. We have only 3 servers, 1 in each office that we work out of. Oh, that's interesting. The attacker reached out into their pocket and handed over the business card. Here, take my card. I would love to connect and maybe bounce some ideas sometime. I'm sorry, I don't have a business card with me, the target replied apologetically. No worries, the attacker said reassuringly. Just scan the QR code on my card, it will take you to my website. Go ahead, do it now, and there's another talk starting in a few minutes, and I don't want you to forget. The target shrugged and pulled out their phone. They scanned the QR code, which opened a web page. Clicking on the provided link, they suddenly noticed something downloading onto their device. They frowned in a confusion. The attacker frowned surprised, leaning closer. Oh, I'm sorry, you've downloaded my CV, he said, and in an embarrassed smile. I'm trying to figure out how to optimize my page for mobile. I hope that didn't cause any trouble. All right, so out of this conversation, we got a bit of more information. We have information about technical debt in production, also untested features. We know the vulnerabilities. We have a name for the library. We can look it up, CVS for that library. We know that there are only 3 servers. We know the location of that. Great. And also, the attacker out of those conversations built enough trust to actually force someone, manipulate someone into performing an action. There's a bit more about elicitation. The CIA guy explains in, I think, 2-hour video about all of the different techniques that CIA used at a certain point of time. So it might be worth looking it up. All right, another thing is about pretexting. So pretexting is a story building. So usually we have a character. The character that seemingly acts in a very helpful manner. They're always very positive, always trying to help, always trying to serve you with something. And we have a situation. And the situation needs to match this, the character. With those rules, there is a full immersion. If someone is calling you and they claim to be a clerk at the bank, they would basically do the whole recitation of all the rules. Hello, we will be recording this call. If you don't agree, please let us know. We'll basically do something about it. And also, it's about the scenario matching. If someone from the bank is calling you, asking about your account, they not necessarily would be asking you what kind of device are you using, right? Or what kind of system, are you updating your system? Have you set up a second factor in most of your accounts? Or what's your email address? Most likely they should have this information already. And also about the knowledge. Like if we ask this person about something very specific, most likely they should know the answer. So, for example, if someone from the hospital is calling you, they should be aware about your persona, your data. And it's breaking the whole pretexting if the pieces are not glued together. And I got a map. It's not the only map, but you have an actor and the scenario in here. So we might be going through family emergency that someone is calling me, hey, Pawel, or Mr. Sucholbiak, because no one would from the hospital call by my first name. And they will ask me about my mother that had an accident, right? So you are marked as a first responder or the first contact person. So we need to still make sure that you're the right person. Could you give us your mother's maiden name? What about your social security number? What about your identity code, right? And then, okay, we got this information. Your mom is in hospital, this and that. If you would like to visit her, she's fine. You can visit that. If not, she will be taken back by the ambulance to her home. And apparently, this kind of information is also used when calling my bank to authorize myself when I'm doing any bank operation. Accidentally, right? We have more of those scenarios. Of course, we have Nigerian prince, and it's a very nice, funny example. And if you look at it from a different perspective, it goes through the scale. But the idea is that if someone is responding to this email, most likely they're prone to be catched by the case. For some reason, they have some sort of natural properties that would still get some nice returns to attacker. And of course, in recent times, we also have a recruiter and pre-screening, and also it goes further into, hey, would you like to take part in our interview process? Here's the link to the repository. Please download it, build it, and let us know what's the solution, right? And there were cases where people were downloading the repositories and trying to figure out the build scripts, what they're doing. And they actually detected that the scripts are trying to take the information from the browser, so all the sessions that are being stored by the browser. So we go into the manipulation and persuasion. I would say it's one of the final steps where we have all the pieces and the pieces of information. It's a finishing blow, like with the downloading or opening the QR code or downloading this seemingly CV. We went lengths to the whole conversation, trying to build a whole narrative, trying to make this person feel comfortable. And then we persuaded this person to do an action. And usually the target feels obliged to perform some action, usually. All right, what about this real life? What about our weaknesses? We have few. We might be fearing for authority, we have a sympathy, we have this brain automation. We also make a lot of mistakes and typos. And we have high ego, right? And we claim that we are technologically savvy, but it's not always how it seems to be. So one of the set of weaknesses, like I like to call it filling credentials. So either we have a fake facade, like with this link to the Google Drive for the party photos. Even though you have an active session in the Gmail, you're opening the new website from the Google Drive, and you still need to authenticate, right? And it's strange because you type the right credentials, right password, and it got rejected, right? And then suddenly you got another attempt. You provided. You actually got the push notification on your phone that someone is trying to log your phone. Yeah, it's me. Activate or allow. Yeah. Another thing is the captive portals. Not sure if you're local or you came here to London. The case is when you're staying at the hotel, in some cases you need to log into the Wi-Fi network, or maybe on the airport. You need to provide the room number, or maybe your name, or some sort of a password or credentials, right? And then you might get a very shitty Wi-Fi that is connected. And then you say, okay, it's enough, I'll do something, I'll buy some data package. And of course, nice breaches and fake attempts when someone is trying to push you into doing certain things. Like once I got a very nice set of emails apparently from Gmail, that someone was trying to log into my account. And I got 40 messages because someone was trying to do it overnight, and seemingly from LA. And if then at this situation I would get a phone call from the Google support, hey, we detected a lot of attempts to breach your or to get into your account. Please spend the minute with us. We'll basically set you up and we'll do double check. Maybe I would fall for it. I'm saying maybe because everyone is susceptible. And of course, the block cards. Like I got this nice message. You can see by the photo, it's not Europe. And I got a nice message. Hey, please call us for transaction verification. Yeah, then my card got blocked. Got a text message. And they explained that please call us now, right? Alternatively, you can use the phone number at the back of your card, but anyone is doing that? Not really. We are lazy, right? We are just using the phone number provided, or we actually called that number that was sending a text. In this case, it was legit concern. I basically tapped my card and got charged twice. So the credit card company blocked the transaction, but blocked the card. But honestly, I didn't care at the time, because that card that was blocked, wasn't used on the vacation. And I'll also tell you a bit more about this. Another set of weaknesses: reaching out for help and the famous crying baby scenario. I told you about the medical emergency. That is one thing, is the verification, but another scheme is that extra expenses occurred. Like we could not reach out to your healthcare insurance, so you need to cover it now, because, for example, your relative would basically they won't be able to proceed with some sort of examination or some sort of procedure, and this person would actually need to wait in line until the payment is made or the funds are secured. Even though it's not how the things really work, when you hear the separate keywords that it's your relative, it's an injury, it's maybe potentially life-threatening, and you need to act now, you don't think logically in most cases. Okay. So this is the part of the show that was done during one of the DEF CONs. And the lady here is basically pretending to be a wife of a target. And she is calling the telecom company, trying to perform some operations.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
@gmail.com?
Jessica gets my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account. Okay, my
Jessica uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my
Thank you
password.
so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right.
Yeah, so this is kind of scary, but if you look beyond if it was actual conversation or was it actually staged or was it actual call, you can see how she is immersed in the role. Even though she is acting it out, even though she's on the phone, she's still reacting like someone else could see her. You can actually see that perfectly here. All right. All right, so another set of weaknesses. It's a 50% off only now, only the first month. The offer ends in a few hours. Another one is the salary list. You get a nice Excel spreadsheet. You open it. Of course, it's a salary list, or there may be a promotion list or a bonus list. You see the nice Excel spreadsheet. You open it. Oh, it's nothing visible, but there's a whole macro thing. And you try to enable the macros, something that you should never done, even nowadays. You enable the macro. There's a login prompt. Please provide your credentials. What you do, you provide your credentials, and you select OK. And what happens? Oh, you got rejected. It's not meant to be opened by you. And this is the worst case scenario because not only you leaked your credentials, but at the same time, you won't report it. Would you report the situation where you obtain information that it's not meant to be delivered to you and then you try to still see what's there and you had a problem, and would you report it then? Not really. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, the photos from the last party, it could be anything. Anything that catches your interest. We also have other weaknesses. But honestly, I'm not sure how to categorize it. In some cases, it's not something you can fight with. And again, I'm really hoping that first of all, it was staged. Second of all, if it was not staged, it was a joke. And the third of all is that those people that actually provided the passwords, they were reminded that stuff. It was reckless, to say at least. All right, technical weaknesses, right? Can you tell me what's wrong with the first URL? I can hear corn, right? What else? Comma. No HTTPS. Okay. What's wrong about the second one? Yeah, it's not URL. It's not even a link. It's just a text that goes colored blue with the underline. But our perception is, oh, it's like it's matching the font of the next URL. I would just click it, because why not, right? Okay, another one. I need to open this page. The question for $1 million, where are I gonna land?
You'll land on OX Facebook, because the bit before the username.
Yes. So the tricky part is that it's not actually a Facebook C, it's an actually static IP address. So the Facebook is actually a play of the hex, where it happens that I could actually create something with the hex letter that is recognizable and can be translated into IP address. But I can imagine that I've been asking this question a lot, and it's not that everyone got it right, straight away, right? No one is really using the authentication, because the first part before the @ is basically for basic authentication. No one really uses that. But at the same time, the protocol allows it. And of course, QR codes. You've seen in my presentations there were some QR codes. I'm not sure if anyone actually checked them. Let me see on my website. Okay, thankfully no one. Thankfully no one, but if you will actually scan the QR code, you will be redirected to my website that would act as a proxy, and then you'll be forwarded to YouTube directly. I'm not collecting any data there, but I'm collecting the information that someone actually fetched the source of the small redirection site, right? So it still might be used, and the magic of QR codes is that we have a lot of data embedded into a very small space. And for us, it's impossible to tell. Like if I have two QR codes, one legit, one fake, I cannot really tell if they're different. The same goes with the parking places. Often you can see on those systems that you have a QR code to pay directly, right? And there are cases where someone actually put a sticker on top of regular QR code. And also imagine a situation when with the QR codes, we have a lot of data that is for, not for security, but basically additional bits that would provide oh gosh, I've forgotten the term. But nevertheless, the QR code might be still damaged and we would still get information. So there are, sorry?
Parity?
Parity, yes. And the idea is that in some cases, because of those parity bits, people might embed the QR code into the structure that we don't recognize as a QR code. So you might be actually scanning a visualization or graphic, and apparently your phone actually might be picking up, hey, there's actually a QR code there. Or you have 4 QR codes very close to each other. And you're just trying to do it because on the presentation guy was, for example, advertising his books with some sort of a coupon, right? And it's really hard to say, oh, I would like to scan the middle one slightly to the right, but not the others. It's very hard. What about defense? We talked about a lot of mechanisms that might be used, and how now let's talk about the defense methods. I like to split them into the 5 different groups. So first of all, we build awareness. Then we do the bit of a risk assessment and planning. We care about our security hygiene. We double up, and we report. All right, so what about the awareness? So overall, the more information you ingest, the better, even if you are using sources that are not fully authorized by the government. You have great official sites that are a great source of all scams. I've even been reading about those that there are emails and letters about the court that are being sent out as a latest scam. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter if you're using the sites, the podcasts, social media, whatever builds, whatever tool is upon your liking. It's all about the information, all about those memory hooks. Because I even personally had a situation where I've been chatted by my relative. Hey, I lost my card. Here we have the system. You need to open your the bank application, and here's the code. I need to get a cab back to my place. And I instantly knew that it's a scam, even though it's from the legit social media account. It was a legit person, but the account was basically hijacked. One other thing about the risk assessment. The family member that reached out to me. It's that family person was on the list of people that are important to me. And I would recommend you doing the same, list all of the important people in your life, all the things that can impact your life, and then try to imagine the worst case scenario. What happens if I lose the contact? What happens if my relative accounts got hijacked, right? What can I do to reach them in a different way? Can I call them? Can I go to their house, right? And then if you have this set of scenarios, extend it for situations where you're out of home, maybe on vacation. What happens if I lose my wallet? And I was saying, oh, yeah, it's like I have my ID, there are cards, but everything it's on my phone. It's not a big deal. Do I have the number for an embassy? Can I reach them by foot, right? So you start building those problems and resolutions, kind of a mapping. And the main idea is that if you are facing the critical situation where someone is trying to impose a bit of a stress on you, you don't really think about what to do because you've already done that. You have a scenario, you have a probable cause or a probable case how to resolve it. And you will try to do that because you know that thinking when stressed is not basically yielding the best results. Yeah, so plan for the worst, as I mentioned, for important people. Check the communication channel. Make sure that you have other means to reach them. For important things, you double up. So if you have only one place, or for example, if you have a phone and this phone is actually crucial to you, or you have a second factor authentication, make sure that just in case you can reach your, for example, recovery codes, right? But also think the other way around. If someone would gain access to your recovery codes, would you be able to block this attempt? How to get a new ones, right? What about IDs? What about tickets? What about all sort of things that could ruin your vacation or ruin your well-being? And also about things, harden things up, especially the electronic ones. And as I mentioned, plan emergency scenarios. The best advice I can give you is to think about bad things before they happen. It's not a very positive way of thinking about life, but yeah. About security hygiene. You all know that second or multi-factor authentication is a thing, but I would also stress out one thing. There are different methods and they're not equal. Like try to go as hard as possible. Nowadays, the passkeys are trying to gain more traction, and I think they might lead the way. Please be aware that there are some drawbacks. And also, what I would recommend, verify if there is no other way. Because imagine that you are setting up your second factor authentication through a passkey or maybe the hardware key. But then there is the provider or the website is providing you with an alternative option to log in. And suddenly your passkey is no longer needed because they can send you a text message. And there are scenarios where the text messages can be extracted from your phone. One other thing is the software updates. Like with the NPM, the supply chain attacks are happening constantly. There is a constant list of the vulnerabilities that are being listed, and companies are really trying to fix them and patch them. And I couldn't stress it enough that if you don't update your software, you're basically exposing yourself to the risk. It's, on one hand, I know it's so cliche, but on the other hand, I went through the list of CVEs, and yeah, I got a bit scared because the list of things that are being published there, and then the basically amount of time it takes for all of the systems to be patched, in some cases it's terrifying. One other thing is about the password managers. With all of the development, they're losing a bit of traction because it's no longer about the uniqueness or it's no longer about the password being hard to remember. Nowadays, the password can be used as a metadata. Because imagine that someone is trying to link your accounts. They might be using your username, but they also might be using the password. Even though you have a very secure password, this password might be used in different systems. And people that are looking for your information also have access to the passwords that leaked. So if they can compare systems, and especially if you're using a very unique password, and this password pops up in two different systems, they have additional linkage between them. All right, privacy settings. So my resolution is to share as little as possible and control what you're sharing. Especially now where our data is being used to train models, it's also entering a different stage. And online footprint. So like with this OSINT, the open source intelligence, do the research about yourself. See what kind of data you are actually publishing, what kind of data is available about you. And you might be, in some cases, very surprised. One of the last steps, report. So in here, we have an action fraud that you can actually access the website and report the suspicious activity. You can also call them. And to sum things up, harden yourself, prepare for the worst, be up to date, report stuff, and a bit of a paranoid. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.